And she was like, I can't do it. I can't. I think I blacked out for a second, but somehow I ended up in front of the parents. I was listening while doing my hair in the bathroom, and I was like, that is not appropriate. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Mayamiiaa and I'm back with another video. So in this video, I'm going to be bridging off of my previous video. If you haven't seen it yet, I did a experience with my boyfriend going to boot camp and how I got through it, and I threw some advice and some tips in there. In this video, I'm going to be piggybacking off of that video, and I'm going to go more into detail about his graduation from boot camp, me traveling up there, and what happened after he graduated boot camp. Okay, so like I addressed in my previous video, he left for boot camp in July. He was there for 2 months. So he left for boot camp July 6th, and he was graduating boot camp on September 16th, and Family Day was September 15th. So I remember leading up to that time in September, we were sending letters back and forth. We were finishing up our last minute phone calls, and in his letters and in all his phone calls, he was like, leading up to graduation, like late August, early September, I did not have a date of when he was going to graduate. In my previous video, my boyfriend went into boot camp for the Army July 6th. So he was going to be gone from July 6th to August, and then he was going to graduate September 16th, and Family Day was September 15th. And my boyfriend did graduate from Fort Jackson, South Carolina. So leading up to graduation, I remember late August, early September, the Army did not have a graduation date posted yet. And the Army was pushing and pulling dates because of COVID. I guess people in my boyfriend's platoon were getting COVID, so they had to keep remixing the dates and nothing was really finalized. And I remember during that time, I was so stressed out because I needed to take off of work to be there for Family Day graduation. I was going to be gone for a total of 4 days. And the Army didn't have a date yet. So I remember I think maybe a week or two before graduation, that's when they posted the graduation date. We didn't have a date yet. I couldn't get a hotel room or anything, but I remember in the meantime, my boyfriend and I were still sending letters. We were still calling each other back and forth. And, you know, I remember every time in my letters and every time I would call him, I would be like, you got to tell me when graduation day is coming up because I got to take off of work, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, he was like, yeah, I don't know yet, blah, 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 blah. Time when you can still send letters because after a certain amount of time leading up for graduation, they can't get letters anymore because they have to prepare to graduate and be out of the base. But since I didn't have a date yet, I couldn't get a hotel room or anything. And I was originally planning to stay on base, so it wasn't that I didn't have to worry about driving back and forth too far from the base and like meeting up with him and stuff like that. So I remember the military posted the graduation dates so late. So late. They ended up posting them, and they agreed to have the Family Day for September 15th and the graduation date for September 16th. I remember during this time, I was trying to find hotels, and I couldn't book a hotel room right away because I didn't know the dates. So whenever the military posted the dates for graduation or whatnot, I couldn't get a hotel room on time for base. By the time the military posted dates, or whenever I found out the dates of Family Day and graduation from the Facebook group chat, or I don't remember how I found out the dates, but I feel like I found out too late or something like that, because by the time they posted the dates, I couldn't get a hotel room. Everybody booked those hotel rooms on base up. There was only 2 hotels on base and everybody booked them up solid. So I couldn't get a hotel room on base. So I decided to get an Airbnb, which was a few minutes from the base. For this trip, I was planning to leave September 14th, 15th, which was Family Day, 16th, which was graduation, and I was gonna leave on the 17th. So I was gonna be gone for a total of 4 days. So a few days leading up to this trip, you know, my parents are telling me, well, really, no. My dad was telling me, you know, well, I don't want you to drive all the way to South Carolina by yourself because I don't think you can handle the drive. You need to be with somebody so you guys can take turns driving and whatnot. he was saying that, and my boyfriend was saying that, like, he was saying that all in his letters, all on every phone call we had. He was like, you don't need to be driving by yourself. You need to drive somebody else because you can't handle the drive, blah, blah, blah. That's too far of a drive for you. Okay. So, in my mind, mind you, this is days before I'm getting ready to leave for South Carolina. Before I even really started putting things together for this trip, I already knew I didn't want to go with anybody, which I will get into later in the video. But this was days leading up to me leaving, and I knew it wasn't going to be realistic to ask one of my adult friends that work full-time and everything to come last minute to a trip with me to South Carolina. You know, my dad was like, you need to find somebody to go with because you need to split the drive up somebody. And I was not asking anybody because it's like, who am I getting ready to ask at last minute, hey, do you want to come to South Carolina with me for 4 days? I knew that wasn't realistic. You had the choice to be vaccinated or not vaccinated, but the trick was, if you were vaccinated, you can go wherever you wanted. If you were not vaccinated, you were secluded to maybe a few places on base. I can't remember if it was a few or if it was one place, but the military was basically like, you need to be vaccinated or you can't go anywhere. And they were saying that you have to be fully vaccinated. So you needed your first shot and you needed your second dose 2 weeks prior to graduation, your vaccination card. And at the time, the person I was trying to go with was Zoe, and she wasn't vaccinated at the time. So it was basically like, don't even think about it. So the only person I was trying to go with, she couldn't go because she wasn't vaccinated at the time. So I ended up going by myself, which I wanted to do in the first place. And I remember when I told my dad, he was like, fine, I'm fine with you going by yourself, but when you're on the road, you have to answer my call. You know, when you get to the Airbnb, you gotta let me know. You gotta show me around the Airbnb and stuff, which was cool. My dad also told me he wanted me to leave while the sun was up. So when I got to South Carolina, the sun was relatively still up. Like you needed to arrive in South Carolina with the sun still relatively up, which was fair. And he also had one of his friends like check on me while I was driving the whole time, which was cool too. So when I left, it was an easy, cool ride. It was 5 hours, and I was excited the whole time. I think it was just the anticipation and my adrenaline, like just finally being able to see him and whatnot. So I drove the whole time by myself. I didn't stop for gas once. My car was good on gas. I was able to drive straight there to my Airbnb. So I left home at like around 11 a.m. and then I like got to my Airbnb at like around 5 or 6-ish. And one thing about it is, y'all, when I stay in Airbnbs, I like it to be like a hotel room. I don't like to stay in Airbnbs where the people are still there. I don't know, like, I just like to have my own space. I don't like having to know that I'm sharing a space with somebody else around the house or anything. So the way my Airbnb was set up was I was gonna have basically the whole upstairs. I had my own bathroom, I had my own bedroom, and I even had my own living room. So I basically had the whole upstairs. And I don't really think they mentioned that in the description, but I was gonna have my own space and I was good with that. So when I arrived at the Airbnb, it's these people's house. And I remember when I got there, you go in, I was able to go in through the front door, and they had the walkway blocked off. So when you walk into the front door, the stairs are on the right side, so I can just go straight up to where my area was, and then straight ahead was the kitchen and the living room and all that other stuff. And I could literally see the homeowners there. And not only that, they had a gate blocked off, so their dogs couldn't get to me. So every time I came in the house, the dogs were barking at me, and I really didn't like that because it's a lot of racket. Like, I don't like when other people's dogs be hollering at me and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, but I wasn't complaining because I was like, okay. But the only problem I had at the time was, you know, I'm coming in the house, your dogs are barking at me. Of course it's gated, so of course they can't get to me, which is good. But you see me, I see you, that's a little awkward. I don't like stuff like that, you know. I remember countless times leading up to graduation and me leaving for my trip and stuff like that, I was watching countless, you know, tap out videos on TikTok you know, from people from boot camp, because I knew that's what I was about to do. So it just made me feel a lot better to see what was to come. So the next morning rolls around. It's like 7, 8 o'clock. I'm still asleep, and I left the door cracked because the bathroom is just like literally right around the corner. And y'all, I'm sleeping, right? And I feel just like something, like it just felt like rumbling under the bed, right? But it was really minor. It wasn't a big deal. And in my sleep, I'm thinking it's an earthquake or something, because it just felt like something was shaking under the bed. And I don't think anything of it. You know how you kind of just wake up, but you're not fully awake, and you just go back to sleep. That's kind of what was going on. So I woke up a little bit. I felt the bed shaking. I didn't really think anything of it. It was like right under me too. And I went back to sleep. Then I remember at some point I woke right back up, and there was a nightstand next to me, and my phone went off because somebody texted me, or I was getting a notification. And y'all, it was a cat. My phone went off because I got a notification, and when I tell you, the cat got up and was on the nightstand looking at my phone like this. Y'all, I turned my head, and the cat literally ran across the room, out of my doorway, and was just kind of looking at me. And I was like, okay. And I closed the door, and I let the girl know. I texted the girl who owns Airbnb. I was like, hey, like, you know, your cat got in my room. And, you know, I wasn't mad about it. I was just letting her know that her cat was up in my area, just in case she was looking for him or something like that. And she was like, oh, like, she apologized and everything. I don't exactly remember what she said, but she basically told me that it's not her cat, but in a way it is her cat, because I guess she takes care of him. I guess he's an outside cat, and they give him food and water every once in a while, and I guess they let him in the house once in a while, and he got in my room. And she said that she wasn't gonna let it happen again. I wasn't mad about it. I wasn't tripping about it. I was just letting her know the cat was up there. So I was like, okay, ready, and I was on my way. I got there pretty early because you have to, you know, go to the gate. They gotta sign your ID card. If you don't have an ID card, you got to go in another line, and I didn't know how long the lines were going to be. You have to park your car, then you have to get in line at the stadium or the field. You have to get in line at the field. They break you up into 2 lines, vaccinated and unvaccinated. Then you go into your line, then you got to go through bag search, and then after you go through bag search, then you're able to sit on the bleachers and stuff. So after I checked in and everything like that, everything was fine. It kind of went smooth sailing. When you get on the field, the soldiers are already lined up in their platoon. So they had 4 platoons, and they have different names. So they're already on the field waiting on you. One of the drill sergeants gets up to the mic. He made a speech. It was short and sweet. It was cool. You can relatively go anywhere you want on base, but you have to bring them back by 6 p.m. Not 6:01, not 6:02. Like, we prefer that you don't bring them back late. They can't drive. They can't consume alcohol. He was like, you can't leave the base. And he was like, if you're driving and you see a gate, you already know you're wrong. You need to turn around. Real short and sweet. And, you know, he was like, just don't bring them back late. So you drop them off where the barracks are, and, you know, just have them back on time. So after he made his speech, he let us get on the field. My plan this whole time was I want to sit closer to the field so I can get on the field before a lot of people, because one, all of them are bald. We all have masks on. I was like, what if I get to his platoon and I can't find him, and it's so crowded I can't find him in the crowd or something like that, and I'm in, you know, and I'm like the only person that can't find their soldier in the field. I want to get on the field ahead of time before a lot of people get on there, because I don't want to look stupid and have people thinking that I don't know what my man looked like. I was trying to get off the bleachers in a certain amount of time, but you know, it was a lot of people trying to get off the bleachers. You know, drill sergeants are, you know, helping people off the bleachers and stuff to like create a flow of traffic. And y'all, I remember it was this lady, and she was pushing this man in a wheelchair, and she's trying to get down the ramp of the bleachers to get off into the field, and everybody was waiting because she was trying to push him. And I guess I don't know if she knew where she was going, or she just got stuck or something like that, but she was fooling around with the wheelchair. So I remember I was behind this couple, like I guess I was behind these parents, and we're waiting on her to get the wheelchair situated and everything, and she was like, I can't do it, I can't do it. Whole time I'm looking to the left, a lot of people are on the field by this time, so now my anxiety is running up. So finally the wheelchair lady moves. Then the parents in front of me, they were walking so slow, and I remember at this point my anxiety is up, my adrenaline is up, like, oh my god, my man is on the field, I don't got time for this. I don't remember how. I think I blacked out for a second, but somehow I ended up in front of the parents. I don't remember how. It was hardly any space. I think I just jumped in front of them at last minute, and I don't know, somehow I ended up in front of them. So at this point, I'm going down the ramp. I'm putting my phone in my pocket because, you know, it's time to go. Like, I need to see, I need to find him on the field. And when I get on the field, everybody is walking around, including the soldiers that are supposed to be in formation. And I watched too many YouTube videos, I watched too many TikTok videos. Y'all are supposed to stand on the field like this. Y'all aren't supposed to move until somebody taps you out. You know what tapping somebody out is? Basically, while they're in formation, a family member, loved one, you just go up to them, either tap them out, hug them, kiss them, and they can break out of formation and they can just go with you. That's basically what it is. And everybody was walking around. And I'm like this because everybody's walking around. That wasn't a part of the plan. It's not what they were doing in the YouTube videos. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm never gonna find him because a good amount of people are on the field now and all the soldiers are moving around. They're not supposed to be doing that. That was not what I was privy to. So I'm walking to where his platoon, I don't even think I really even got to get to his platoon fully yet. I think I was about to get to the sign that said his name of platoon. But okay, I'm walking this way, so I'm heading over to the platoon, right? And then him and his friend are coming this way. So he was walking with his friend, and I'm too busy looking this way, so I don't really see him right away. But I knew it was him because he started walking towards me. So we kind of locked eyes, and I got to see him. I hugged him and all that other stuff. It was really nice. It was just us two for that day because his family was coming in the next day for graduation. So it was really me and him that day. So really on base, it's really not a lot you can do. They have a movie theater, they have a bowling alley, but it's not an AMC or anything like that. It's not anything serious. It's just like a little shoot they have on base, and you know, base is only but so big, and there's a lot of people that are going to be here for a few days. So if you're trying to go bowling, there's already going to be a lot of people there. If you're trying to go to a movie theater, it's already going to be a lot of people there, depending on if they want to see the movies there, because they only had certain movies that played for like that whole day. It's not like they had different movies for a set time. It was like, this is what movie we're going to play all day, and if you didn't want to see it, then I mean, I guess you're just not going to watch the movie for the day, because that's what they were going to play all day. You didn't really have a certain amount of options. They only had like 2 food places, you know. It's a whole lot of, I don't want to say it's nothing you could do on base, because you know, you really just get to spend time with each other. But what I'm saying is, it's a whole lot of people on base, so it's not a lot of availability to get to do that stuff like bowling, watching movies. And you know, if you want food, you need to make sure that either you go through the drive-through or you're prepared to wait. So what we did the whole time is we really just I remember we went to go get something to eat. I think we went to Popeyes. We ate in the restaurant and it was packed. I think we went walking around the PX. We stopped by the movie theater, but like I said, they only had certain movies that they were playing all day, and if you didn't like the movies, then you just weren't gonna watch the movie, and they weren't playing the movies that we were interested in, so we didn't see it. So majority of what everybody was doing on base who was here for family day and graduation day is they were walking around, having a picnic. They were sitting somewhere, you know, just enjoying each other's company. You know, it's not a whole lot you can do on base. Base, when you're on an army base, it's really all work, no play. That's where boot camp is. That's where some people's AIT is. You know, it's different business buildings there. Some people live on base. It's not a whole lot you can really do for entertainment on base. All the fun stuff is off base. And when I tell you, we would put stuff in the GPS, it would be like, oh, there's an AMC 1 minute away from you. We're driving and the gate is right there. It was crazy. Like, all the good stuff was off of base, and it was literally right, like, off of the base, just right there around the corner. So, you know, obviously we couldn't go there because it was off base. So we just really spent time together. We walked around. You know, he just showed me around the base. He showed me around the base. We caught up with each other. And, you know, that goes into what I was talking about earlier, why I didn't want anybody to come with me during this trip, because one, I knew it was just going to be too close for comfort to ask one of my friends at last minute, like, do you want to come with me to a whole different state for 4 days and I'm not sure what you're going to do. All the couples that were there on base, everybody was boo-loving. I didn't want anybody to come with me to third wheel. Like, what were you going to do the whole time? Me and my man are catching up with each other about life, and we're hugging, kissing on each other and stuff like that. That's why I didn't care for somebody to come with me on this trip. But I enjoyed it though. It's not like we didn't have anything to talk about. We really barely got to talk to each other for like we had limited communication with each other for 2 months. We had plenty to talk to each other about. So yeah, we spent majority of that day eating. We ate food. We, you know, walked around the PX. We walked around the base. You know, he showed me around. You know, we had a picnic. We sat outside. You know, he was telling me about his experience. I was telling him what was going on back at home. It was plenty of things we could have done. It was nice. It was really nice, and everybody was doing that. It was a lot of people outside, because it's really not much you can do, and you don't want to waste time. So I remember I dropped him off early. I dropped him off at like, what, 5:30, maybe 5:40 or whatnot. Have his phone the whole time during family day, and he got to have his phone the whole time during graduation, because that was the time he was going to be spending it with his family. So I remember after family day, after I dropped him off, I went to go pick up his gift, because I ordered him a gift ahead of time and I chose to pick it up in South Carolina. So I just went to go pick up the gift, and I brought it back to my Airbnb, and I just got it ready for tomorrow because I wanted to give it to him for his graduation, which was the next day. So that's all I did. I just went to the Airbnb and I chilled, got his gift ready, and that was it. Graduation, this is the 16th. So around like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning, you know, I'm getting ready to go to the base. And while I'm getting ready in the bathroom, I hear like other people talking in the house. So it was sounding like my Airbnb people had guests over in the house. I really didn't think anything of it. It really was my business until I heard, I don't know, I heard the husband, because the people who had my Airbnb, it was a husband and a wife, and they had dogs. And I don't know if the wife was there, but I heard the husband, and it sounded like he was showing people around the house. Like, he was like, this is the living room, this is the kitchen, blah, 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 blah. So while all this is going on, I'm in the bathroom, I'm like, are they really showing the house to people while I'm up here? Because my whole concern was, are they gonna come up here while I'm up here? What am I supposed to do? I heard the husband talking to the guests downstairs, and I think it was a lady and her husband that were looking over the house. And the wife was lowball flirting with the Airbnb husband. I was like, that's a little inappropriate. I can't remember exactly what she was saying, but I remember I was listening while doing my hair in the bathroom, and I was like, that is not appropriate. She sounds a little flirty, and the husband was eating it up. But I was like, it's okay. Let me just mind my business and leave. So while I'm listening to all this, the wife texts me on the Airbnb app, and she was like, oh, hey, we're having people look over the house, just so you know. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. They're not going to go upstairs to your room, you know, where you're staying, though. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. And in my head, it's like, what's the point of you telling me if you already doing it? But like I said, I was getting ready to go anyway. I was getting ready to see my man. I was like, whatever. Graduation was real nice. It was about 45 minutes to an hour. It was real short and sweet. And I remember the same thing we did yesterday was the same thing you did during graduation. You just hung out on the base. I got to meet some of his friends. We didn't get to like see inside the barracks. I don't know if I don't think they were letting us do that. I know I saw a few YouTube videos where I think they let people do that. Don't quote me on that. I probably got it mixed up, but it appeared to me in previous videos that I've seen that they let you look in the barracks where they actually stayed. But they didn't let us do that, I don't think. They had a museum where you can literally see what they were going through. It puts you in their perspective. Like, as soon as you get there, you know, it just takes you along the whole process that they probably went through, and you get to look at it through that way. So at least you get some insight of what they went through instead of actually going through the barracks and, you know, seeing their spaces and stuff. Like other people who were in boot camp going through the same things, like they would be in different phases. You know, my boyfriend would be like, oh, they're in phase yellow over there doing push-ups and whatnot. People in the field and whatnot. It was real cool. So yeah, I remember it was raining all day. It was gloomy all day. Yeah, when it came time to drop him off this time, it was a lot more emotional than I feel like dropping him, like when he left for boot camp in general. It was really emotional dropping him off that time, because if you don't know, after graduation, the next day they leave for AIT. So they don't get a break in between after boot camp to go home, say goodbye, pack some more stuff or anything. They don't get to do that. After graduation, that next day, they're either on a bus or a plane to their next destination. And depending on what they're in the military for, it depends on how long their training is going to be. And it was so emotional, because just going back to the barracks to drop him off, it was other families crying, dropping off their soldiers, saying goodbye. It was other girlfriends, boyfriends saying goodbye to each other. A lot of people were crying and hugging each other, and you know, I cried because from my point of view, just me being a civilian, okay, me being a civilian, it was hard because it's like, I haven't seen you in 2 months. We had limited communication. I was writing letters. We get random phone calls from each other, and I get to see you for a day or two, and you're leaving me again. And I'm not gonna be able to see you until X amount of months. So it's hard, because it's like, I just seen you and now you're leaving me again. And it was hard. And you know, people were crying around me, so you know, obviously that makes me sad. It adds on to my sadness. So I was crying, you know, because I knew that next day I wasn't gonna see him, and I wasn't gonna see him for a while. So yeah, that goodbye, it was heavy. So yeah, I said goodbye to him, and he went back to his barracks. I remember I gave him his gift beforehand, because I think they have to, they can pack a personal bag or two, and they have to like check it out with the drill sergeant or not. Don't quote me. But yeah, I said bye. He went back to his barracks, and you know, when they leave, when you drop them back off at the barracks, they have to turn their phones in. So just because they graduated or they're getting ready to graduate does not mean they can just have their phones right away. No, like when they leave off the field for family day or graduation, they give them their phones. When you come back to the barracks, when they drop you off, they have to give back their phones. Even when they're getting ready to leave for AIT the next day, they have to give the drill sergeants their phone, and they don't get it until they get back on the bus. And I was like, you know, so it's like, I can't even tell you, I arrived at my Airbnb okay. So from South Carolina to Georgia, which is where he did AIT at, that was like an hour and some change. So I remember while he was on the bus, we texted the whole time. While he was on that bus ride, I didn't leave my Airbnb until I knew he was at AIT, because I knew I had a 5-hour drive ahead of me and I wanted to talk to him. This AIT experience is really nothing for me to make another video about, because it was so repetitive and it was really nothing to it. Basically, he left for AIT in September. I didn't get to see him until Christmas break. So he left like a few days before Christmas, and he didn't go back until like maybe January 4th. And it was an adjustment for us to get our communication back on track, because I know since he was so secluded from society for 2 months, he was telling me how he had to get readjusted to his phone, and like, you know, just being able to talk to people again, you know, getting around people and actually having to readjust to just having human interaction with other people and, like, you know, actually being in bigger settings. And we really didn't get to talk like that. We really didn't get to talk as much as I would hope we would and as much as I'd like to. We text each other every day, good morning. I know he had to go to training in the morning, and I think he got out at like 5. And you know, they have to do PT and everything like that, and he would be tired by the time he would get out of school, so he would go to sleep early because he had to get back up in the morning, do PT, and be at school. So yeah, we really didn't get to talk like that because he couldn't have his phone when he was in class or anything. So majority of the time we just text each other before he went to school, and then sometimes when he got out of school, sometimes we talked on the weekend, but it was limited. We got to talk to each other, and I was glad I got to speak to him. He was gone for a total of 9 months, so he graduated in March. He's deployed now, and currently I don't know when I'm gonna see him again. He hasn't been there long enough to be able to come home for Thanksgiving or Christmas. You know, he doesn't, you know, we're not married, so he's considered single. We don't have any children together, so the military was like, well, you really don't have anybody to come home to for Christmas, so there goes that. So yeah, I feel like now that he's deployed, we do talk a lot more than we did when he was in AIT, and it's because he's not in training anymore. He's really in the real thing. But yeah, that's how everything went for Family Day and graduation. It was a really good experience. It's September 10th, so it'll be about a year that he's graduated on the 16th. So it was a really special time, and yeah, look forward for more videos like this in the future. I will update you guys on his deployment and how I'm doing and other related videos in the near future. So if you guys look forward to that, just make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video.